Alright guys, let's talk about the playoffs so far. Just to get into a couple of games, the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Memphis Grizzlies was a fun series. It was battling back and forth, but everybody knew Memphis was taking that. Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic knocked off Utah Jazz in the first round again. The last time it was exited by Denver in a 7-series classic. The point is, Donovan Mitchell ain't gonna take much more of this shit. And Luka had a solid partner with a guy by the name of Jalen Bronson. They used their offense to knock off the Phoenix Suns in Game 7, the worst Game 7 in the history of Game 7s. They was beating them by damn near 40 points in the first quarter. Now we go to the other side, we had Golden State taking on Memphis. One thing I didn't understand about that series, Memphis at that time was supposed to be the number one rebounding team in the West. So how the hell was Golden State out-rebounding them? It didn't make any sense to me. Now I personally picked Memphis to go to the Western Conference Finals, but Dillon Brooks was out for 2 games here. John Morant was out for 2 games there. A lot of other fuckery ensued. Bottom line, Golden State moves on. Golden State Warriors played Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. They was too much for Luka Doncic. He only had a little bit of help. At least they got one win. They got the gentleman's sweep. Warriors back in the finals. Now let's talk about the East for a minute. Brooklyn Nets with KD and Kyrie. Now we all know they ain't got no goddamn defense over there. They shooting out the gym. The first team they played in the series, the Boston Celtics. The turnaround came for the Celtics in January when they started building on their defense. So guess what? They stomped them out in every aspect of the game. Kyrie had one good game, and that was in Game 1, but bottom line, Boston took that shit too. KD tried to recover in Game 4, but it was too little too late, and guess what? In the first round, the Brooklyn Nets are the only team to get swept in the entire fucking playoffs. Dumpster juice, landfill leftovers, junkyard residue. Then Boston went on to play the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis, the Greek Freak. Bucks was out there doing what they needed to do. The only problem is they were out with Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton out with that squad, that's kind of a problem when they're heading into the Boston Celtics. 7-game series, Boston moves on. On the other side, you had the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Toronto Raptors. They went up by commanding 3-0 in the series. Then all of a sudden, Toronto gets 2 straight wins. Oh, they're going to choke it away. Doc Rivers, what you doing? But they don't. They win Game 6 and get the fuck out of there. Then the 76ers move on to take on the Miami Heat. Miami Heat specialized in defense too. And also the number 1 team in the East. In the first 2 games, Joel Embiid was out, so obviously Miami's taking those dubs 2-0. Joel Embiid's back. He takes the next 2 games. They're on 5. Game 5, Joel Embiid said he didn't win the MVP. You know they already gave it to Jokic. What the hell is James Harden doing on the court playing around? Miami takes Game 5. Game 6, Harden doing a little bit of facilitating, whatever, doing all that. But he only took 2 shots in the second half. What are you doing? And missed both of them, by the way. They need you to become Houston, James Harden. What are you doing? You know Tobias Harris ain't doing shit. 21-year-old Tyrese Maxey was giving it his all. He was doing more. He should have been the point. Miami with the jimmiest of buckets finishes off the 76ers. Eastern Conference Finals, Miami Heat taking on the Boston Celtics. We all knew this was about defense and defense alone. And both these teams went to a Game 7, but their wins were completely lopsided on both ends. People on the outside looking in like, damn, this is a weird series. Tyler Hero was out for 2 games. This ain't good for Miami going against this Boston team. Boston takes out Miami in Game 7, 196. The jimmiest of buckets is gone. So now the finals is set. Golden State Warriors taking on the Boston Celtics for the championship. And I just saw Game 1 already. We ready to see Game 2 today. Game 1, the first half, Steph Curry was going crazy. Then that slowed down a little bit in the third quarter. It was still up on Boston by 12, but then the fourth quarter happened and mayhem took place. Al Horford led the team with 26 points. Even though Jason Tatum was 3 of 17. Everybody knows up to this point Jaylen Brown was the closer. These motherfuckers went 9 of 11 from 3-point range in the fourth quarter. They was giving all of the business. Jordan Poole, up-and-coming superstar, looked flabbergasted after that. I feel like the Warriors are straightening themselves out in Game 2, but bottom line is Boston Celtics take Game 1. Now, even though if Boston does decide to take Game 2, I don't feel like anybody's going to get swept in this series. So once again, Brooklyn Nets, the only team that got swept, looking like some all-time dumpster juice, landfill leftovers, and junkyard residue. I don't care if Boston was the team that beat them and they got themselves to the finals. Bottom line is, you're the only team that got swept. They couldn't put up a fight. They couldn't get a gentleman's sweep. No, they got swept like some bitch-ass niggas. And that's the playoffs for you so far. I'm ready to go see Game 2.